Morning and welcome to Thoughts from a Driver's Seat. I'm your host Abdul-Haqq, where we talk about things relevant, silly, banal, and recurring. This morning we'll be talking about two main issues. And again, this is only going to be like about a 5-minute segment. First half, we're going to talk about last night's episode of SouthLand. For those of you who don't know, SouthLand was written by a pair of amazing writers, and was formerly on the NBC network, which has suffered dramatically after the writer's strike of a few years ago. And Southland was one of their few shows that they actually had, and they actually wound up cutting it. I think it was November of '09. So here you are 2 years after the writer's strike, and you actually got a decent show, and y'all fools and wouldn't let it go. TNT's got it, and they are running with it. Last night was an amazing episode, amazing show, full of drama. I loved it. I hate the fact that my guy Nate died, man. He was the one guy that actually made community policing seem to be more than just an idea. He did community policing because he was very much involved with the Latino community where he was in the fictional LA. And it really bothers me, man. That just throws me all off. But I mean, that's just what happens in good writing. Sometimes, like I remember in The Shield, you had the dude Lemansky, who was really good with kids. He got killed, off some foolishness. But I think cop dramas definitely bring forth a different light to the way how things operate, the way how things are in terms of us being civilians, if you want to look at us that way. It definitely brings forth a different light that I never would have known about. I'm very, very impressed with the way how Southland is going. Regina King does an amazing job. She just got an NAACP award. Sean Atosi, I believe that he is going to be definitely seeing some things going on with his character, and he really hadn't done anything, I think, of merit since I think it was like the late 90s. I can't remember what show that was he was on, but this isn't the first time that he's been doing some really good work. But in any way, I'm really loving where Southland is going right now. I think it's fantastic. I think the show is amazing, and I can't wait to see what happens as I do every week. I'm clearly plugged to my television every time. So Southland Tuesdays at 9 Central on TNT. Them cats, no drama. Other thing I want to talk about is Barack Obama's State of the Union address. I think that it was very well written. I had my sons. We sat down and watched it for a little bit, then they had to get on homework. But I did record it so we can be able to watch it at a later time. But I think a lot of the issues that he discussed, and then my wife and I, we talked about it at length. I think that it was. I think that he is doing a good job. I mean, there's a lot of things that he can improve upon, but when you look at what our alternative almost was, it's not going to work. So we almost were with, the short man and the NRA Snow Bunny, and that wouldn't have been cool at all. So I think that we would have been in a much worse situation. I think the Tea Party is a bunch of idiots. I think Michelle Bachmann, her comments, and constantly, first off, she was welcoming and thanking the Tea Party and representing the Tea Party, and it just showed how divisive that the GOP is, not only with the president's stances and the president's stays on it. When you have something like State of the Union address and then the Republican response, that's a foolish name for to put on there. That sounds like a movie title, State of the Union and the Republican response. That's just freaking childish. Anyway, man, I really hope that they get up out of that, and I just don't see it happening though, unfortunately. And I think Michelle Bachmann's comments showed that the Tea Party has divided the GOP amongst itself. I mean, you got the Tea Party is like the organizers, the mobilizers that are going to do things, and I don't see them. Everything that she said was sounded like a talking point. She was constantly talking about Obamacare. Who in their right mind would actually say Obamacare when you're talking about you're talking about something. I mean, that's something you say on television. You're addressing the nation, and you sitting there talking about Obamacare. You sound like you're at a rally. You sound like you're in an interview. You're not in an interview. You're directly, the president just addressed the nation, and you're responding to it. Yeah, you may be sitting in front of a media corps, but it's a different theater at that point. And you're gonna go sit here. I think that's just very disrespectful, the way how that was. Just looking at the fact she constantly called it Obamacare. You're not sitting at a Tea Party rally. You're not sitting at an interview with some of your pundits that sit up there saying some of the same things and may or may not agree with you. But for you to constantly call it Obamacare is a fire word, and you're constantly saying it. You're repeating it over and over again. And I think everything that she was saying about how the president, came. Well, she did make one light about how the president did come into, as soon as he started, President Obama did have issues. I mean, not have issues. Did start the spending, the deficit got real bad. Of course, it was real bad. You think about where it was when he started. Yeah, we were $1 trillion in the hole, and it took us a lot more to dig deeper out of it. But now we're $3 trillion in the hole. You're absolutely right. We are. You're 100% right. But guess what? Sometimes you got to be able to go ahead and you got to put those bandages over to take care of those seeping wounds. This ain't gonna happen overnight. I personally believe that Obama's on the right track. I really believe he's doing a better job than anybody else. If anybody else would have been sitting in that office, we definitely wouldn't be in any kind of shape. And, will it be kind of tight? Yes. He's talking about doing a spending freeze. We'll see how that works. He's talking about doing, I think it was a 1 year or a 2 year spending freeze. If it's a 2 year spending freeze, that's going to be interesting. 1 year spending freeze might be a little bit more realistic. 2 years is going to be kind of tough. But anyway, we are going to have to tighten our belt. It's going to have to happen. And it will take some bipartisanship. But the way how that was presented last night, the Republican response, and then even Bachmann's responses after that, man, screw them, man. I don't see that. They're just not thinking. Anyway, I think I've used up my 5 minutes, maybe a little bit over. Those are just my words and thoughts from a driver's seat. Catch you next time.